Impetus, episode 111. After an intro to the show, we see Aaron Cutler at the commentating desk. He welcomes all to the show, once again, by himself. He hopes to hear from his broadcast partner CJ tonight as to what he has planned with Gary Federline and Stephen Dreadful. However, the show must go on tonight as Jimmy Sparrow takes on Greg Williams tonight. Also, Charlie Finch takes on Skar, and if Charlie Finch wins, as a result of last week, the ritual must take place. And our main event tonight is a number one contendership battle royal for the Coast to Coast Championship. 15 Impetus stars will compete in order to face Warren Jaxon for the gold. With Impetus ready for action, enter Angel. As Angel enters, a video from her social media is shown. Angel is speaking to the camera while sitting in her makeup chair, getting glammed up by her makeup artist. Everyone wants to make their claim for Daria's title. Well, she wants a shot too. Akira wasn't the only one that got screwed out of the Battle Royal 2 months ago. She reminds all that she was screwed too, by the champion herself. With Angel's complaints still being heard, images of Angel's elimination from the Battle Royal is shown from episode 102. Pulled out of the ring by the champion, Daria. Angel is facing Akira tonight to show that the next challenger shouldn't be a normie, shouldn't be a giant, and definitely shouldn't be a hardcore wannabe. The next challenger should be from above. Her, Angel. Enter Akira. With an updated wardrobe, Akira enters, making a statement with her increasing presence. With a post-match interview planned with Akira, Aaron Cutler exits his commentary desk in hopes to get a word from the next challenger. However, before the commentator can enter the ring, all is stopped thanks to the music of... Enter Daria. A respectful champion gets in the ring and tells Akira that she means no disrespect. She simply wants to be in the ring to witness Akira talk once again about her goals in this business. However, rather than Aaron, Daria seeks an answer from her. Daria asks if they have a problem. As they approach hunt you down, Daria wants to know if Akira has any issue with the champion she's competing against. Since the 2-year anniversary spectacular, Akira has made her opinions clear, quite clear, of what she thinks about the women's division, not just in Impetus, but in the entire wrestling industry. Thinking that women of today prioritize hair extensions and makeup over ability and performance. Claiming that female competitors worry more about their fingernails and cosplay outfits more than working on their craft and scoring wins. That glitz and glam is more important than championships. Daria wants to know if the two have an issue as, well, Daria opens out her arms, allowing Akira and the world to see her flashy, colourful get-up. Daria claims that she seems to fit the mould of what Akira hates and wants clarification. Do they have an issue? Akira exhales with sadness, claiming that she appreciates Daria's work in this business, being able to create multiple moments of empowerment to all females all over the world. She takes nothing away from Daria's performance. However, Akira would be lying by saying that Daria isn't a prime example of what she is trying to conquer. Akira looks Daria up and down with a little bit of a judgment, claiming that the colours that she wears, the entrance she performs, and the makeup she layers herself with isn't what makes her a dominant champion. But the fight and the passion she brings to the ring every week is. That is what young women, little girls should aspire to be like. However, Akira believes that all females see when they look at Daria is a highly produced, over-the-top, pretty girl that uses glitz and glam to their advantage. Well, Daria nods her head and accepts the insult. She thinks and gets closer to Akira, asking how she dare question her. Daria explains that she looks like this, acts like this, enters like this, because Impetus is the only place where she can do it. Wrestling is the only platform she has to truly feel like herself. They say that in wrestling, the greatest character that you can have is you turned up to 11. Well, Daria has turned it up to 1,000. Impetus is the only place where she can wear what she wants, act how she wants, and be who she wants to be. All with the fans not judging her, but embracing her. She comes out here with the bright lights and flashy wardrobe and dyed hair, not to replace her personality, but to embrace it. Akira may have worked her way to the #1 contendership as herself, but Daria became and remains the only 2-time women's champion by enhancing her skills and her personality. Daria has fought street style, had splinters taken out of her damn back, highlighted, main evented shows and pay-per-views, competed for the top 2 prizes in this business, and holds the most prestigious one of them all. Daria looks forward to the pay-per-view, as she will show that you don't need just a personality, you don't need just glitz and glam, you can have both. Daria drops the mic and leaves, allowing Akira to think about the pay-per-view Hunt You Down. After the intense confrontation in the ring, we then head to backstage in the locker room featuring Jimmy Sparrow and Jack Ross for a more light-hearted segment. Jimmy is seen in deep thought, clearly stressed about tonight's big match with the World Impetus Champion Greg Williams. However, he gets interrupted by Triple J's Jack Ross. Jack says hi to the focused Jimmy, asking if everything's okay. Jimmy replies quickly, stating that he's just preparing for his match against Greg tonight. Jack sighs and asks if he can state his opinion. With Jimmy listening, Jack claims that maybe, just maybe, Jimmy is taking himself a little bit too seriously here. With Jimmy insulted, Jack continues. He gets it. Facing the world champion is a big deal, and Jimmy may have been motivated by the words of Greg Williams in the past, sure, but Jack asks if maybe there's a possibility that Greg's wrong? With Jimmy confused, Jack claims that the Rebel may be on top of the card, but it doesn't look like he's having any fun. Now, Triple J, win or lose, or even draw, they know how to have fun, especially since they ridded themselves of that nasty hoe called Jillian Day. Triple J are enjoying their careers lately, which is more than he can say for Jimmy and, of course, Greg. Jack just wants to ask, as Jimmy approaches his match with Greg tonight, is he going to take it seriously? Or is he going to do what he should be doing since the beginning? Is he going to have fun? Jack leaves, letting Jimmy wonder. Speaking of the World Impetus Champion, enter Johnny Fabuloso with Terri Delighta. The new #1 contender to the World Impetus title catwalks his way to the ring, full of himself, as always. As the Fabulous One enters the ring, a promotion for Hunt You Down is shown. The pay-per-view's main event will hold the World Impetus Championship match between Johnny Fabuloso and Greg Williams. Enter Jimmy Stevens with Jack Ross. Prepared to have some fun, Triple J enter with little stress and full of happiness. Match 2, Johnny Fabuloso with Terri Delighta versus Jimmy Stevens with Jack Ross. Triple J poke fun of the stylist and model as they take multiple timeouts from the match, needing to fix Jimmy's hair, applying his makeup, and even brushing his damn teeth at ringside. Despite Triple J's tomfoolery, Jimmy Stevens suffers a loss to the #1 contender. Winner, Johnny Fabuloso. After the match, as Triple J exit, Johnny and Terri taunt Future Gold around the Fabulous One's waist. This won't be the last time Triple J is seen tonight, as Jimmy Stevens will take on 14 other men, including his own tag team partner, Jack Ross, in tonight's #1 contendership Battle Royal. The winner will face Warren Jaxon for the Coast to Coast Championship. Also, Charlie Finch takes on Skar, and if Charlie Finch wins, the ritual must take place. Also tonight, Jimmy Sparrow takes on Greg Williams. Will Sparrow have fun, or will he take this match seriously? But up next, CJ explains. CJ reveals why he has sided with Steven Dreadful and Gary Federline. All of that and so much more after this commercial break. The show then reopens in an undisclosed location. With a dark interior, CJ stands in the middle of his allies. The three take off their equipped balaclavas and stare into the camera. CJ speaks, claiming that for too long, the two men that stand beside him have provided hit after hit for Impetus, yet received no reward. Stephen Dreadful was part of and the cause of one of the most intense tales of the 2 years of Impetus, but has not been credited with the adulation he deserves. Gary Federline has tasted gold only for it to be swept away due to the politics of this cancerous industry. CJ has not only had to witness his friends be shackled down, but had to sit back and watch it all happen as he repeatedly refers to the new management of this business as revolutionary. Gary claims that a revolution requires change, yet all seems the same, as he is still without gold, yet to have justice from insurgency all those months ago. Stephen tells us that there is no controversy behind this statement. The revolution is an indictment to his and Gary's career, and it will be punished. CJ knows he's done a lot of talking. Now he puts his money where his mouth is. Actually, he's putting his mouth where the money is. His friends have become his business partners, as they will provide him a percentage of their income in order to do to them what Impetus have never done: provide them success. CJ is sick of being forced to tell all about the revolution of Impetus. This revolution will be destroyed and reformed into one of their own. Gary, Stephen, and CJ are the incubators of insurrection, annihilators of innovation. The three show their KOTR shirts that we've seen recently, with CJ ending the scene stating that they are the killers of the revolution. With the killers of the revolution making their statements, we then cut to Aaron Cutler at his commentary desk. Aaron can't believe the words of his broadcast partner. He knew CJ was a selfish, money-hungry loudmouth, but he didn't know he'd take it this far. The now named Killers of the Revolution are set to do battle in tonight's main event Battle Royal, where the number one contender to Warren Jackson's Coast to Coast Championship will be decided. Can Gary and Stephen start their unity off strong? We then transition to a backstage interview with the Coast to Coast champion, Warren Jackson. The all-action Jaxon is introduced and asked who he'd like to face next for his title. As Warren begins his new path, he must look back at the old one as Empire interrupt the scene. Corey and Blake claim that they are not finished with Warren Jackson. They remind Warren of Impulse 3, where they tapped the champion out in the middle of the ring. They refuse to accept him as the champion. Empire hope to right the wrongs that took place that night, as either one of them will win tonight's Battle Royal, walking in the shoes of their hero and mentor, Dave Falcon, by claiming the Coast to Coast title. Warren laughs, asking how well that mentality worked out for them at Impulse. Warren admits that he did indeed tap out at the pay-per-view, but a winner between Corey and Blake couldn't be decided simply due to their selfishness. The champion tells them to face it. They secretly wanted to be the Coast to Coast champion by themselves and will eventually turn on one another in order to achieve their own success. With Corey and Blake disputing, stuttering, Warren can't wait to see Empire compete in the Battle Royal tonight to prove their loyalty, not just to Dave Falcon, but to each other. Enter Immunity, Jerry Kane and Bobby Manuel. With their Immunity leader hoping to defeat Skar later in the evening, Bobby and Jerry wish they had eyes in the back of their heads, as the sinister siblings are never too far away. Enter Chris Vortex. Okay, slight technical hitch. Chris explains that he had a really cool idea to bring a legend back for one night only, and it was going to be this huge big moment for everyone, okay? This was going to be an amazing tag team match. However, his partner hasn't made it to the arena tonight, and unfortunately at this moment, cannot compete. As a result, Chris will have to face Bobby or Jerry in a singles match right here, right now. Chris walks forward for his one-on-one contest, only for Immunity to take issue. They don't see why they have to cater to Chris's inability to form a successful tag team. The way they see it, if Chris can't find a partner for this match, he either forfeits or must compete in a handicap match. Chris complains, asking how he's supposed to find a partner in such a short amount of time. Bobby and Jerry don't care and tell him that they'll give him time. About, say, 30 seconds? Chris then panics, looking around the arena for a tag team partner in such a short amount of time. As Immunity's clock ticks down, Chris judges the fans as he hopes to find a teammate. He then walks over to the timekeeper's area and hopes to acquire a friend in the bell ringer and announcer, but to no success. They refuse. As Immunity near the end of their count, Chris is desperate and decides to grab the food vendor. Yeah, the food vendor that's circling around the arena. Dragging the arena employee over the barricade and into the ring, the vendor tries not to spill his tray of bagged popcorn as he is shocked. Chris has found himself a partner? The vegan then tells his new partner where to stand on the apron, ready for the random tag team action. Match 3, Immunity, Bobby Manuel and Jerry Kane, versus Chris Vortex and a food vendor? Much like last week, Chris offers to compete first, allowing his worried and confused partner to remain on the apron, equipped with his tray of popcorn. As Chris tries to compete against Immunity, the food vendor looks on with high anticipation, eating the popcorn in stress. With Chris able to counter his opponent, he crawls ever so slowly and desperately for a hot tag to his random teammate. The food vendor realizes that this is his moment. Looking on with popcorn falling out of his mouth, Chris gets closer and closer for a tag, only for the food vendor to be distracted by a fan at ringside wanting their fix of the delicious food. With the fan waving $1 like a maniac, the food vendor is distracted and wants to do their job of selling the food. Conflicted with needing to make a tag, Chris is millimeters away from the tag, only for the vendor to hop off the apron and prioritize his career. Selling food to the audience at ringside, the vendor costs Chris the tag team action, then the match as Immunity hit the cure to win. Winner, Immunity. Chris Vortex looks on in pain as the food vendor continues to do his job around the arena. Transitioning to the backstage hallway, we then see the new team of Kai and Leo warming up for their second tag team contest. They soon get approached by a polite and cunning Jillian Day. She welcomes both of them to Impetus, asking if they've been having fun. With Leo and Kai wondering if they should speak to the controversial woman, Jillian hopes to calm them down. She understands that she's a little intimidating, but wants them to know that she means nothing but positivity. It seems as though the Switchblades aren't exactly kicking off their careers with huge momentum. I mean, the devastating loss against Stephen Dreadful last week, and before that, the quick loss against those ungrateful sons of Triple J. Jillian tells Leo and Kai that their stock is already lowering and will continue to do so if they don't do something quickly. The Switchblades are then a little convinced by Jillian's words and decide to listen. Jillian lets them know that she sees potential in the two of them and, who knows, maybe they'll surprise everyone and beat the tag team champions later tonight. Or maybe they'll get squashed again. Either way, Jillian will be proud of the result as, if they win, they can go on and form their own success. That's fine. If they lose, they'll be able to do the same thing, as they'll have her guidance to do the same. Tonight, Jillian has chosen the Switchblades as her acquired team. Jillian flicks her hair and exits, letting the Switchblades think. Another backstage segment is then seen, a backstage interview with the Condemned Nation. With the masked faces of Mark Emil and Jarvis being seen, the camera pans out to see the two stand behind Dylan Dark. The interviewer welcomes the trio with fear, asking the leader of the group, Dylan Dark, what happens in tonight's main event battle royal. What happens if it comes down to himself and his followers in the final three? Dylan is calm, yet insulted. First of all, Mark and Jarvis are not his followers. They are his children. Secondly, Dylan Dark is not a leader. He is an emperor. Thirdly, there will be no fear for such a situation, as if it comes down to himself and his children, he will not fear to eliminate himself, allowing them to battle for themselves. The interviewer wonders why Dylan would do such a thing, given his previous accolade as Coast to Coast champion. wouldn't he want a second title reign? Dylan's goals have changed. The Coast to Coast Championship was a significant point in his life, but he has different priorities now. He has since become a helper, an emperor, a father to his children. Dylan looks at his team and claims that he wants them to succeed in their passion, not to discredit it. What kind of father would Dylan be as to be so selfish and win this match? No, Dylan is out here tonight, out there tonight, everywhere tonight, purely to help his children along the way, and when they're ready, he will allow them to spread their wings. As the Condemned Nation prepare for the Battle Royal later tonight, so too does Impetus, as tonight the #1 contender for the Coast to Coast Championship will be crowned. Also, Charlie Finch will take on Skar, and if Charlie wins, the ritual must, repeat, must take place. However, up next, Jimmy Sparrow takes on Greg Williams. After a commercial break, Jimmy Sparrow enters with many emotions flying through his mind. Should he take this match seriously, or take Triple J's advice and have some fun? Enter Greg Williams. The world champion enters with a replay showing from last week. Approached by a happy Jimmy in the backstage area, Greg tells him that he just doesn't get it. Jimmy is told that throwing a couple of kendo sticks around doesn't make Jimmy a world champion. No, being ruthless, cold-blooded, and a take-no-crap human being makes one a world champion. That is why Greg stands with gold, while Jimmy stands without a clue. Jimmy is seen in the ring with focus as he stares at Greg Williams. How will he approach another match against the Rebel after the conversation with Jack Ross earlier tonight? Match 4. Greg Williams versus Jimmy Sparrow. Jimmy surprises the Rebel with some quick offense and adds some cockiness to it, almost patronizing Greg any time that there is a separation of offense. The longer the match goes, the more fun Jimmy has, embracing a more acrobatic style and happy to play along with the crowd. Irritated with Jimmy's sense of humor, the match continues with the champion winning, hitting the Gordo Cutter to end the match. Winner, Greg Williams. Still annoyed by Jimmy's attitude toward the match, Greg witnesses his opponent leave in acceptance. As Jimmy exits, he doesn't look back at Greg. In fact, he wears a huge smile despite his loss, shaking hands with the nearby fans. With the Rebel looking on, slightly insulted with Jimmy's behavior, his hand gets raised in victory, raised by the appearing Johnny Fabuloso. Greg sees his overly tanned challenger and instantly swipes his hand away, refusing to share the spotlight with the model. Greg has realized what Johnny is up to and argues with the grinning challenger in the ring. Happy to play games with the champion, Johnny goes for a hug with Greg declining it. The champion pushes his challenger to the floor. Greg exits with confusion and anger while Johnny smirks, lying on his stomach and flying his legs in the air like a little schoolgirl. After the confusing in-ring segment, we then transition to the backstage locker room featuring Jacinta and Jade Williams. Jacinta is seen pacing, clearly anxious. She is biting her nails until she sees Jade Williams enter her locker room, greeting her with an exaggerated smile. Jade is unbothered and tells Jacinta that she just got her text and wants to know what she wants. Jacinta explains herself. She asks if Jade has been watching Akira lately and how she should be in that position. Jacinta should be the #1 contender. Jacinta claims that there is only one person on the roster that deserves that title shot more than her, and guess who it is? It's you, Jade. Jade rolls her eyes at the confidence boost and asks if that's all she came in here for, to hear something she already knows. Jacinta tries to keep Jade interested, stating that they've both been screwed out of the title, right? Not once, but twice, and Jacinta now feels that they should take a stand together, just like old times. With Jacinta hopeful, Jade is shocked that Jacinta would even pose such an idea after the way that she was treated when she was under her employment. If Jacinta thinks Jade's going to let her boss her around and treat her like crap again, Jacinta cuts off with mercy. She wants Jade to know that it wouldn't be like last time. It wouldn't be like it was way over a year ago. It wouldn't be an employee and employer situation, as this time it will be just two women who want their piece of the pie. Look, Jacinta wants to be the women's champion, and so does Jade, right? So why not help each other out while they can? Jacinta wants to give and receive help from Jade. Whoever gets a title shot first, with that help, the other helps them win it, and the other gets their well-deserved title shot as soon as possible. They become the instant number one contender. How about that? Jade thinks and claims that she'll think about it. Jacinta is now perplexed. Think about it? Why? Jade gets close to Jacinta's face and answers the question. Because she doesn't trust her. Jade exits, with Jacinta worried. The show then sees Vipernyp in his own office, spinning with his cape in front of a mirror, acting like a complete goof. He gets stopped by a knock at the door, to where he bolts to his desk and pretends to be busy. Empire enter. They tell the president that they have an idea. With Vipernyp interested, Empire reminds him of their passion and attempted tribute for their mentor Dave Falcon. They want to make him proud by defeating Warren Jaxon for the Coast to Coast title, and with this battle royal being their last shot, they'd like to make this special. Asked by the president what they want, Empire asks what better way to be motivated and pay tribute to their leader by making the battle royal a vitality match. Vipernyp chuckles and actually likes the idea and is kind of bummed out that he didn't think about it. Accepting the match change, Vipernyp makes it clear that those in the Battle Royal will be split into now 3 groups. The winner of each Battle Royal, just like the Vitality match, goes on to the next, where the last man standing will become the new number 1 contender. With Empire now in Delight, they are about to leave, only for Vipernyp to call them back in. He tells them that if they're so keen on paying tribute to their hero, Dave Falcon, then they should probably do so. Vipernyp knows what they're up to, and he won't let them do it. The Vitality match will take place, but it will start with Corey and Blake, meaning that if it comes to it, the first Battle Royal can only end with 1 Empire member left standing. The question is, who will it be? Empire look at each other, trying not to be irritated with the decision. The frustrated Empire leave, leaving the president to put his classic shades on his face, crooked like a dickhead. Back to the action. Enter El Fuego. The tag team champions are ready for their first of 2 matches, as they will be competing momentarily in the recently announced Vitality match. Enter Jillian Day. The arrogant wannabe manager sits in her usual chair at ringside, awaiting the arrival of her potential new tag team. Enter the Switchblades. Leo and Kai enter with excitement, yet focus when they set their eyes on Jillian Day. Despite their new beginnings, their future hangs in the balance. Match 5, El Fuego versus the Switchblades. The high-flying teams start the match off quickly, highlighting their athleticism. With El Fuego providing their championship status, they outclass the Switchblades multiple times, ending with multiple standoffs. These pauses are progressively and aggressively approached by Jillian Day, who constantly yells and coaches her apparent new tag team. New and inexperienced, the Switchblades listen to their angry manager and try their best to impress her. Weirdly enough, it works as Kai fights back against Sinxia, slamming him down and goes up top, ordered by Jillian Day. Jillian's coaching skills have proven to be effective to the Switchblades as Kai prepares for the high-risk move. Jillian then decides to stand on the apron, oddly congratulating Kai on his performance, almost distracting the newbies. With Kai losing focus, he gets off the ropes and asks her to get down. Jillian does as asked and watches on with a smile, well aware of the impact she has made. Clearly, she is trying to manipulate a loss out of the Switchblades in order to become their manager. El Fuego take advantage momentarily of the situation and strike Kai down to stop his momentum. Upset with Jillian's input, El Fuego glare at her as they approach the fireball. With Jillian grinning and El Fuego about to pull the trigger, the move is denied by El Fuego themselves. Understanding that this is what Jillian wants, Listio shoves the referee down, causing a disqualification. Winners, the Switchblades. Jillian's face drops with shock as her plan to be the Switchblades manager has failed yet again. El Fuego exit, irritated with Jillian's antics and with the Switchblades surprised with their win. We then see Aaron Cutler at his commentary desk discussing the Vitality match that is set to take place later on this evening. There are multiple participants in this match that have an edge with different motivations. However, none seem to be more driven than Wazzy D after his interaction with Warren Jaxon last week in the exclusive interview with the All Action Jaxon. A replay of last week's exclusive interview with Warren Jaxon is seen, cutting to where Wazzy D interrupted the champion. Warren's mindset of the Coast to Coast Championship may have changed, but Wazzy's has stayed the same. He still believes that the gold belongs to him, was named after him. Warren reminds Wazzy that the last time he competed for the title, he became the challenger just like that. Well, he's not going to simply allow the same thing to happen. Despite how much he hates them, Empire at least earned their title shot by winning a match. He can't say that Wazzy will be able to do the same due to his, disappointing win-loss record. The two stand face to face as the replay ends. Tonight, the main event Vitality match takes place. That's right, the Vitality match will host the number one contender for the Coast to Coast Championship. However, up next, Charlie Finch will take on Skar, and if Charlie wins, the ritual must take place. Impetus returns with a promo package highlighting the rivalry between Charlie Finch and Skar. With Finch believing Skar's weakness to come from his siblinghood love, he has challenged Skar to a match where, if their chaotic creature loses, the ritual must take place yet again. This time returning the souls of Susan and Rochelle back to their respective bodies. Enter Charlie Finch. Entering with the ritual book in his hand, Finch enters his battle with Skar alone. Enter Skar. The chaotic creature stares a hole through his rival, realizing what may take place if he loses. Match 6. Charlie Finch vs Skar. Using his antics to create flurries of offense, Finch eventually gets countered by the monster and hit with a huge power slam. With Skar in control and preparing for the resurrection, Angel is seen charging down the ramp, hoping to help her leader. She jumps on the apron, flailing her arms, trying to gain as much distraction as possible. Skar accepts none of it and hopes to grab the pretty little princess, only to be denied as she jumps off the apron just in time. Sneering at her brilliance, Angel walks backwards with cockiness as she has distracted the monster, only to bump into the appearing body of Susan. Susan fakes out Angel with a raised fist, sending the princess running around the ring in fear. The only issue is, no one is chasing her. With Finch trying to maintain the distracted monster in the corner, Angel finally looks behind her while running and notices that no one is chasing her. Reaching Susan after running the entire circle, she gets taken down by the Sinister Sister. As Susan rips Angel apart, she gets pulled away by Bobby and Jerry, who appear hoping to detain her, only to get knocked down by the undead female. Striking them down, Susan gets struck down herself by the appearing Courtney, still a part of Immunity. With Skar back in control, he sees Courtney grab a kendo stick and batter his sister with it. Skar refuses to watch his sister in pain and looks to exit the ring, only for Finch to roll the monster up, using the ropes as leverage and securing the win. Winner, Charlie Finch. Immunity exit up the ramp in pain and fear after all the chaos, as Susan and Skar recover in shock. The reverse ritual must take place. As Finch exits with delight, Aaron asks, does Finch really think Skar will go through with all of this? Next week, the reverse ritual? Skar must rid the soul of Susan. And the Coast to Coast Championship is on the line as Warren Jaxon, the champion, takes on Well, we'll find out who that challenger is going to be as, up next, the main event Vitality match will host the new contender for the Coast to Coast Championship. Enter Empire. Nervous to begin the Vitality match, Corey and Blake need to decide who, if possible, will win the first round. Empire join multiple others to determine the next challenger for the Coast to Coast title. Next! After the break, Warren Jaxon enters. With all first round opponents ready for the bell to ring, the champion enters and sits at the commentary desk, ready to scout his next opponent. The bell rings, starting the Vitality match. Main event, Match 7, Vitality match. The Battle Royal number 1 hosts Corey, Blake, Kai, Leo, and Dylan Dark. Dylan decides to stand in the corner, allowing the tag teams to battle it out. Empire and the Switchblades do so, with Leo and Kai striking Empire down early. With the Switchblades in control, Dylan Dark approaches the rookies, almost trying to adopt new children. Ordered what to do, Kai and Leo look to be influenced by their Emperor, only to beat the hell out of him, refusing to be bossed around anymore. The Switchblades are in control until interrupted by Empire, who attempt to throw the rookies out, only to be countered and eliminated first by the rookies. First and second elimination, Empire. The Switchblades now have huge momentum as Warren Jaxon jumps for joy at the commentary desk. Disappointing their role model, Empire have failed Dave Falcon yet again. Leo and Kai's adrenaline lasts for about 10 seconds as they get speared and eliminated by Dylan. Third and fourth elimination, the Switchblades. We then see the entrance of the next participants in the second round Battle Royal. Enter Wazzy D, Triple J, Mark Emil, and Jarvis Banks. Dylan Dark welcomes and aligns himself with his children to start the second round. With the Condemnation on one side of the ring, they stare down Triple J and Wazzy D, heading into a 3-on-3 fight. With Dylan able to keep Triple J down by himself, Mark and Jarvis hope to do the same to Wazzy, trying to eliminate him in the corner. However, Wazzy fights back, heading to the second rope for a two-man crossbody, only for Dylan to pull his children out of the way, saving them and causing Wazzy to splat on the mat. Clicking his fingers, Dylan orders his team to set up for their wheelbarrow neckbreaker finisher, only for Triple J to stop it, attacking the trio. Their counterattack doesn't last too long though, as they are eliminated by Mark and Jarvis. Fifth and sixth elimination, Triple J. Wazzy is left alone with the Condemnation. It is now a 3-on-1 attack. With the trio taking their time, Wazzy eventually surprises all by reversing Mark's oncoming strike and throws him over the top rope, eliminating him. Seventh elimination, Mark Emil. Beaten back down, Wazzy gets a heavier and less merciful attack. With Dylan hitting yet another spear, all hope seems lost as Wazzy is chucked over the rope. Yet, Wazzy holds on. Stunning the opponents with desperate strikes, Wazzy heads to the top rope and delivers his much-wanted crossbody to both men. Chucking Jarvis over the top rope, the rookie hangs on, only for Wazzy to dodge Dylan's third spear attempt, sending the shoulder into Jarvis's gut and sending him off the apron. Eighth elimination, Jarvis Banks. Wazzy immediately follows up by ducking Dylan's oncoming attack and throws him to the outside, landing on his child. Ninth elimination, Dylan Dark. With Wazzy surviving the 3-on-1 attack, the final entrants are seen. Gary Federline, Stephen Dreadful, Barry the Bogan, and the Essentials enter for the final Battle Royal. The Killers of the Revolution beat down Wazzy in one corner, with the Essentials doing the same to Barry the Bogan in another. The Essentials believed to have found allies in Gary and Stephen, as they high-five in the middle of the ring. About to separate and go back to their offense, the villainous tag teams have the same dastardly idea, as they both want to screw each other. Josh Alba hopes to surprise everyone by grabbing Stephen Dreadful and throwing him over the top rope. Now, he does this, however, Gary Federline does the same thing to Freddie Cornell at the same time. The 10th and 11th elimination belong to Stephen Dreadful and Freddie Cornell. Gary and Josh had the same villainous ideas in mind. The two stare each other down and appreciate each other's evil deeds. They shake hands with respect, only to attempt yet another dirty trick as both men hit each other with simultaneous kicks. Unable to outdo and outdirty each other, Gary and Josh are quickly struck down by the unity of Wazzy D and Barry the Bogan. Sent over the top rope together, Gary and Josh hold on. With Barry and Wazzy about to charge for an attack, they needn't bother, as Gary is pulled off by the eliminated Freddie and Josh is pulled off by the eliminated Stephen. Both teams have screwed each other yet again. The 12th and 13th elimination, Gary Federline and Josh Alba. With the two teams furious at each other, KOTR and the Essentials have screwed each other again. They brawl on the outside, up the ramp, and even behind the curtain, leaving the team of Wazzy D and Barry the Bogan to square off in the final two. Unlike the teams before them, Wazzy and Barry show each other respect by slapping hands and beginning their one-on-one contest. The two exchange in a competitive back and forth, only for Barry to swat Wazzy's dropkick out of the air, sending him to the mat hard. As Wazzy quickly recovers, Barry takes his trusty thong out and pulls back to swing, only to have second thoughts about hitting his partner with it. Barry puts the footwear back, giving Wazzy the opening to strike back, pushing Wazzy against the ropes for an Irish whip and getting eliminated? Before whipping Barry off the rope, Wazzy is hoisted over the top rope and lands hard on the outside, surprising all, especially Warren Jaxon. The 14th elimination, Wazzy D, meaning the winner is Barry the Bogan. After the match, Warren Jaxon, Wazzy D and Barry the Bogan are seen in absolute shock. Wazzy looks up at his victorious partner, slightly insulted that he has done this to him. With Warren applauding the actions, it irritates Wazzy even more as he exits, refusing to look at his partner anymore. With Wazzy gone, Warren raises his title at the commentary desk, making it real clear who Barry should be focusing on next week.